Welcome to Violet Crush Month 9. This one is a little more difficult for me to teach because these pieces are so large. I don't have a design wall that is large enough or a table that is big enough. So we're only going to work on one row. I'm going to show you what I have found works the best for me at this point. As you can see, I have this picture up on my iPad, which we need to provide you with this picture because the paper that comes with the pattern is not large enough to be able to see exactly everything you need to see. So we're going to start. I'm working on row 5, and I have all of my pieces laid out by colors. By this point you pretty much recognize which fabric is by its name. So we're going to start. You need to put your strip on the bottom of your sewing. This way you can check and see where all your points are. I have determined that I've lost a lot of points. They're not exactly as nice as I would like for them to be, but that's the nature of fabric. So before you sew, you need to once again check as you pick them up, make sure you have everything oriented in the right direction. So let's see what we can get done here. You strip on the bottom. I haven't found that I've had any issues so far. Everything is exactly the size that it should be. And I have been sewing a strip to the right hand side of each block and then putting them back down until I get them all done and then start sewing the row together. I've tried several different ways, but this is the one that seems to work the easiest. I'm not pressing anything at this point. Once I get all my blocks done, all the rows done, then I will press. So I'm going to the next block, which is 5A. Got to make sure you have it oriented in the right fashion, of which I don't at this point. I think I've turned them all around on myself. So we want this on the bottom. And let me double check because I think I picked up the wrong one. You need to lay each stack of your pieces out. I picked up 5B instead of 5A. So we need to turn this direction. I'm going to sew strip L onto the side of this, the left side. Pick it up, join your pieces, and flip it over. It's almost like you're working from the back side of the quilt, but this worked the best for me. If when you get started at it you find a better alternative, by all means do what works for you. I like to cut these off as I go, flip them open, put them to the side. I'm going to line them up as I sew. And there are 7 blocks in each row, so these are over 7 feet long. I thought about just putting all the side strips on, and I didn't like the way that worked out. Now we're going to pick up the next one, which is block 3A. Make sure it's oriented the right direction. We're going to put fabric M. If I can pick it up. It's been a long day for me because I am determined that I am going to have this quilt put together before nightfall. Once you get all of the rows done, you still have to go back and do the sashing that goes between each row. And I will probably just stop this video and start again and figure out how to edit it and meld them together to show you how to join the rows to the sashing. Let's cut this one off. Open it up, put your sashing to the side. Look to be sure you have it the right direction again. Finish this one and go to the next. So now we're ready to do block 2, and block 2 is all the way around the center, but they're oriented in different directions, so you have to pay close attention to that. So for this one, it gets oriented that way, and we're going to use a fabric B, which I have covered up with my blocks. This one off, move it over, I will once again tell you at this point I had to change needles again, and I have almost used up my 4th pre-wound bobbin. There's a lot of thread in this. So continually check your top thread. Mine's getting a little low, but hopefully there's enough to finish this quilt. We're going to block 3A, oriented in this direction, and we're going to use fabric B. We are on the short rows of this, but it is still, there's a lot of time involved in the final assembly. And I did find that having my iPad in front of me works very well. I tried my phone, but it's too small. My desktop computer works the best because I have a much larger screen. But the iPad is doing what I need. Because I can tell you, do as I say, not as I do, because I just started putting pieces together. And I ended up taking almost the entire row apart because I didn't pay attention to the orientation of the fabrics. This is the first quilt that I've done that requires all this additional attention, but it is going to be very pretty, very big. It's like I said, before we even think about any borders, it's already probably 8 feet, about 8.5 feet actually, for each row. Now we're going to block 5B. Your purple's down in this corner. We're using fabric M. this one off. Stack it over here. Be sure it's in the right fashion. Watch your 1/4 inch seam. Do the best you can on your corners because we've moved a lot of fabric here. We've pressed and pulled and turned. So this one goes this direction because we have the dark pieces. And that gets an L. Like I said, all of the strips so far, every block has come out to exactly 12.5 inches. Just be mindful of your 1/4 inch seams. And by the time we get to this point, we'll be ready to think about what the next block of the month will be. I've seen a picture of what it is, but I haven't actually seen the fabric or anything. This has been a fun project. Now for this last block, we're going to sew a strip on each side of it. So let's get it moved out. Flip this to this side, and we're going to put a fabric C on the opposite side. I've never made a quilt that uses this many fabrics and this much sashing, but it has been fun. I hope you've enjoyed it. Anxious to see lots of finished projects. Okay. Now we're going to go backwards with our blocks and attach to what is sewn, the strip that's sewn to the left. So this is block 5B. You have to turn it upside down to sew it. Make sure you always put that strip on the bottom. That way if it's a little longer, your feed dogs will work in the excess, but you want to be able to see as much as you can of keeping your points in good shape. We're still pretty much chain sewing, but we do have to have a leader and ender. Flip this over while my machine says it has to rest for a minute. We're going to flip this one over. And upside down. Got to cut some of the little points off there. We don't need that excess. It does get long and heavy. So you definitely will need more workspace than I have right now, but in order to film this, I need to be a little crowded. Now we're going to put our block 2, open that up, flip this over. And I am pretty sure that I'm not going to be able to have room to show you how to put the borders on, but I don't think you'll have any trouble. Just follow the instructions. This is so large that it's very hard to record it and have room to work. And my design wall is only 6 feet by 6 feet, so that was not much help. Excuse me just a second and let me make sure that we are recording, because I forgot to flip the camera to where I could see. Okay. Now we're on to our next 3A. And you can kind of understand why I've done it like I have, because it just keeps everything in the right order and you don't have to keep moving everything around. But don't take for granted because one row a block gets oriented one direction that the next row is the same, because they are not. So like I said, we need to make sure that we get you a good picture of the final assembly sheet so you can open it up. It allows you to see more of actually what the colors are than the paper copy. The paper copy, it printed a little dark, as you have probably already figured out. But we're going to get it. It's going to be fine. And before too long, you're going to be able to take a big sigh of relief and accomplishment. Block 5A. This row, or this block and one more in this row, will be ready to set aside. I have been making sure that everything is in the right order and label each row, because they're all so much alike that if you label it as you go, then you save time later. Time saving is necessary. I would like to see this quilt cut entirely with the AccuQuilt cutter, because I think it would have gone together in about half the time. But I only had 2 weeks time to get the entire quilt cut and sewn, so I didn't have time to check out what dies it would take. Okay, block 7. As you can see how much fabric I'm moving around here. Your lap gets pretty full. And I have been, since I have it up on my desktop as well, which is in the same room. It has a much bigger picture, so I generally have been going over and double checking every block for each row before I put it away. It's real easy to turn one the wrong direction. You think you have it right, and then you look again and it's not right. Okay, now we're going to look at this again, and I already see that I turned this one upside down. As hard as I watched to make sure I didn't, I flipped it the wrong direction. So this one is correct. This one's correct. This one is correct. This one is correct. That one's correct. That one's correct. And I need to flip this one. I was trying so hard to not have any issues before I did this, but I did. So as soon as I get all of my rows together and I have all this additional sashing ready, I will record again to show you how to assemble that. And then after that's done, then all you have to do is put your borders on. I generally put side borders and then top. I think it gives a better finished look. Thank you very much, and we'll see you again in a few minutes.